Apple MacBook Air M1. Right now, I'm going to put every single stuff I'm going to talk about, like for example in green, red, yellow and say white. In green, it's going to be good stuff about this laptop. In red, obviously bad stuff. In yellow, something you should be careful about. And in white, it's something that's just there. So let me elaborate further. My MacBook was a base model with 265 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. And out of the box, 30 gigs was gone. 6 of which were some pre-installed stuff from Apple. You can easily delete if you want. Default interface scale is not 200%, so it's not like 4 pixels to 1 pixel, this retina stuff and, like Apple do with their other devices. But of course, scaling is just a personal preference. Usually, some crazy bastards even use a 100% scale on 15-inch MacBook. But who am I to judge, right? Out of the box, there was an update, which probably was fixing some issues, but it wasn't fixing all the issues this MacBook had at the moment I bought it. More of this later. Compared to, for example, 2015 Macs, feet are bigger, the laptop is lifted above the ground, let's say so, and probably backlit, not going to scratch that easily as in 2015 Macs. But if I'm not mistaken, in new M1 MacBook Pro 14 and 16, those feet are even larger, so the laptop is lifted even higher above the table. Edges are pretty sharp. In some positions it's just not really comfortable to type. Those edges just cut in your wrists and they get scuffed really easy. No matter how much you nurse your laptop, scuffs will appear sooner or later. This is probably the least thing to care about. But MacBook Air logo below the screen, well, before buying this laptop I really kinda wasn't into this logo, like it's just ugly. But when I bought it I noticed it about 0 times. So, and in new MacBooks again, 14 inches and 16-inch MacBook Pros, the logo is gone, so I will probably notice it there even less. And suddenly, while Do Not Disturb button appears on your keyboard. Well, actually, I'm not even sure why it's there. It wasn't there in 2015 Macs, but now it's there. Now, there are icons on Function, Control, Option, and Command keys. I type without looking at the keyboard, but those function keys, I keep forgetting where exactly which. So for blokes like me, it is probably now easier to use hotkeys in programs. Keyboard brightness control keys are gone from the keyboard, they moved to the control center, and it makes sense if you think about it. For example, if you type without looking at the keyboard, you probably do not need a keyboard backlight anyway, but if you need a keyboard backlight, it will just be easier for you to go to the control center than trying to find those keyboard brightness control keys. So they gave us Do Not Disturb button, but they took apps button or whatever you call it from us. Well, I always was removing that apps icon from the dock and was using the button, actual physical button. It was just faster to access my stuff, but now it's gone. Maybe it's just a preference thing, but I'm gonna miss this button. It was a nice button. Yeah, really nice one. Keyboard in general is pretty good, not great, not terrible, completely normal keyboard. Keys do not wobble, they pretty sturdy, nice to type on. What else do you need? Setting up Touch ID is fast, like really fast, but the fingerprint sensor itself is not fast by any means, don't get me wrong. But it's probably makes sense again. I mean, it's this thing, gotta make sure that it's you indeed. Annoying thing is sometimes that Touch ID just straight doesn't recognize you at all and disable itself. The thing is just does not tell you anything. I mean, the only thing it shows is just a little tiny notification, Touch ID is disabled or something, and you just keep hitting that sensor in hope it will let you in. This warning is just too small, not noticeable, and it's just stupid sometimes trying to log yourself in when Touch ID is disabled. Not all apps support that Touch ID yet. Inconsistency. Let me explain. For example, when I'm using my 2015 Mac and some window appears, I instantly know that I need to enter my passcode, password, whatever. So enter it and just try to hit enter without thinking that I gotta do something else. But when I'm using the MacBook Air with that Touch ID enabled and some window appears on the screen, I need to figure out first what exactly this thing wants from me. Either my fingerprint or my password. And these inconsistencies sometimes take a bite from your time a little bit. Having a fingerprint is nice, of course, but face unlock in laptops has so much more sense anyway. You just open the lid and it's sitting there unlocked waiting for you to start your work. If you have a Surface laptop or Surface Pro 5 or newer, you know what I'm talking about. Just open the lid and you're ready to go. It just makes your device much more yours, much more complete, a lot more enjoyable to use. But I think sooner or later Apple will bring Face ID to MacBooks. I mean, just look at that ugly ass notch. A new 14 and 16 inches MacBooks. It's big, it's ugly, and they're just probably preparing some ground for future hardware updates. I have no idea why do y'all need biggest trackpad possible. I mean, my fingers are not 3 meters long and my wrist always fixed on the table, almost always of course, so I just don't get it. But trackpad itself, I mean, it's just MacBook. MacBook trackpads are basically the best, and using Windows trackpads after Macs is just infuriating. I'm using Microsoft OneDrive to hoard my stuff, and here's the same story as with fingerprint scanner. The OneDrive not optimized for new Macs yet. I was trying to download from the cloud and it wasn't just working. A lot of time has passed and nothing worked for me. But in the end, somehow it got synchronized. Probably something you have to live with for some time. Continuing that thought that not everything is optimized yet, I'm gonna say that the laptop had crashed once, really bad. Some weird solid colors appear in the left corner. As far as I remember, there was pink rectangle and it's just straight turned off. Display flickered a couple of times, and when it turned back on, it showed me some panic stuff, errors, and yada. Anyway, it crashed really hard once, but nothing like this never appeared again. Software version of this crash happened once when battery was drained completely. The laptop just turned off without any warnings, and when I turned it back on, nothing I was working on was saved. Basically, laptop just couldn't manage to save stuff from RAM onto SSD before turning it off. So you gotta calibrate your battery before relying on your laptop completely. That instant thing, which was present in Surfaces already a couple of years ago, is really cool, yeah, right. But when I'm opening the lid, even if it was closed just for a couple of minutes, the internet trying to reconnect, and I have to just sit there and wait before it connects to the internet, before I'm starting my work. I'm not sure if it's just my unit, so please let me know this. But it is really annoying. I mean, why do you need that instant on thing when you have to wait to connect yourself to the internet anyway? Apart of what I've just said, I don't remember experiencing any other serious problems, so probably it's a good thing. Let's say I had some concerns about that anti-glare coating, but surely I did not expect any hardware problems. The lid have just so much resistance when I'm trying to open it, and it makes creaking sounds. I'm not sure what is the problem here, but it is either the hinge itself or that infamous anti-glare coating. Well, let's say that that creaking sound is also can be described as when you're trying to tear off something that was glued for good. For example, somebody spilled something on the 2 pages of the book and you're trying to separate those. It is gross in that context if you think about that upper layer of the display glues to the keyboard and then you peeling it off, but it does sound like this indeed. So if your M1 MacBook Air also makes those creaking sounds and your nature is inquisitive enough, you can help us to figure out which is the problem exactly, hinge or that anti-glare coating. Just put something soft between the screen and the keyboard before going to sleep, and in the morning you will know. Yeah, that soft thingy in the box, which comes already with the laptop, will be perfect for this task. But right now, let's speculate a little bit. Supporting that theory with anti-glare coating is the thing that there are already keyboard imprints on the screen, only after a couple of months of use. For people who have incessant stream of papers with pictures of dead presidents on it, or whatever your country puts on your money, it's not a problem. But for people who want to buy something and use for as long as possible, well, you are fucked. Expect some pretty work of art sooner or later on your screen. More than that, that coating is really hard to clean and really easy to spoil completely if you are not careful enough. My point is, we need an option, like Apple did with that Apple Pro Display XDR of theirs. Just give us an option, choosing between just a nice piece of hardened glass. I mean, a lot of people probably will gladly trade that coating for extra reflections on the screen. And another option, that anti-glare super nano texture, whatever they want to call it, coating for people who again want to spend some extra cash on it. Contradicting to that coating theory is the thing that there are a little gap between the screen and keyboard even when the lid is closed, so it seems just like they never meet each other. But maybe when it's in your backpack there's some pressure on the lid and they meet eventually, so the upper layer of that coating getting damaged. I doubt that it was designed this way to have that little gap between the screen and the lid, considering that there's that damn rubber rim around the screen. Probably that metal is just too thin or too small, so making it close and open several times bends it in the end, and that little arc or band appears. Though that gap is small, dirt and dust just gets inside really easily, which makes the damn rubber rim is completely useless. It makes the cleaning the screen a lot more harder. I mean, you just have to really try hard to clean those gaps between the rubber rim and the screen itself, and it's really annoying and it's just straight impossible to clean completely. You need to use maybe a toothbrush for it, but at the same time you can scratch the coating. So again, I want an option, probably some people do too, to remove that damn coating and that damn rubber rim. Just a single piece of nice hardened glass, which is easy to clean with one single swipe, like we can do it on Surface lineup and probably some other Windows laptops. Those stupid 2 Type-C ports on your MacBook Air M1, they're too damn close. You cannot sometimes just use something else with another thing. It sounds stupid, but Even when just single charger, which comes in the box, plugged in, you sometimes cannot put a USB drive. There are plenty of those chunk USB drives. They're wide, they're big, and you cannot use it in the same time when a charger is plugged in. And it's just charger, it's so damn small. But imagine if you want to use a lot of stuff and you just can't because of those two Type-Cs are being too close. Why they did this, I have no idea. Maybe it's just some technical limitations, like those are fast Type-Cs and they have to be so close to that M1 chip or whatever is processing that data, so they could not spread those two ports on different sides of the laptop like they were supposed to do in the first place. So yes, they are too damn close, and they were supposed to be on different sides of the laptop, on the left and on the right. And again, when I'm trying to plug in charger, sometimes it's just on the right side, and it's annoying when that damn cable on the table. So basically the problem with those Type-Cs, they're too close, they're on the same side. Annoying, stupid piece of crap. If you are not ready to leave that dongle alive, you are doomed. Doomed! You have to think beforehand, before buying this laptop. You have to buy a dongle or maybe Type-C hub, otherwise you are really as I was saying before. If you want to connect your SD cards, maybe external monitor with HDMI, display port, VGA, whatever abomination you are using, well, you have to think about it before buying the laptop. Otherwise, you're going to run around your apartment trying to figure out how to stick something inside that damn thing. You can expect speeds from 2 to 3 gigabytes per second, and for normal people it's probably more than enough, but for pros there are those new expensive as hell 14 and 16 MacBooks, which has far more faster storage, about 6 or 7 gigabytes per second, read write, I don't remember, but it is faster. I also tried to measure those speeds via parallels. That is some nice bullshit we've got here. I wish those numbers were true. I firmly believe that right now in 2K22 already. Damn! Times goes fast. So I firmly believe that now 16 gigs is just the bare minimum to use your computer freely. Just let it breathe. Save money on your lunches a couple of times, don't drink your Starbucks, and get a proper 16 gigs version. The charger in the box only 30 watts, everybody said that again, but that cable is detachable and it's really cool. Just look at the eBay, for example. There are people who are selling their old MacBook Pro's charger when it's not detachable yet, and they're broken, they're turned off, in a really bad shape, and right now you just can replace only a cable if, for example, your dog decided to go rampage on it. It charges to 80% in 2 hours and then trickles to 100% in another hour. It's not fast, obviously, but the battery on the MacBook is really good, and it's probably going to last maybe a day, even a 2 for some people. And speaking of chargers, when the charger is connected, when the laptop is charging itself, that thing drops FPS. We are losing some performance. Well, don't get me wrong, this thing is awesome. I mean, being a passive cooled, you're getting that much performance out of it, but it cannot handle that heat it produces during the charging. So to get maximum performance, you need to disconnect the charger. Otherwise, you are losing some performance, the frame rate drops probably to 30 FPS and throttling really noticeable. In Windows laptops, you have to connect charger to get maximum performance, and here you have to disconnect it. I did not even bother to test games. I mean, probably a lot of people already tested games they're interested in and showed it on their YouTube channels, so go watch them. But I did play some Minecraft, and it ran smooth, nice. And what else do you need on your MacBook Air? performance on this machine is really good, but not the performance, which is my favorite thing here. Well, this thing is silent. There are no fans in it completely. It is a straight silent laptop, and I really like it. For example, my 2015 Mac, before I got that crunchy thermoplast replaced, fans were getting crazy. It was just impossible to hear it. Really annoying, the sound was almost unbearable. I had to leave the room to let this thing get its job done. But some laptops, like this right out of the box, some laptops are just so damn loud, really hard to work with. And here, this thing is silent. It is a great treat to work in complete silence. And some people, after the whole day of bustling and hustling, they would pay extra money to get those extra minutes of silence. For some people, probably it's going to sound really weird, but again, there are people who under that constant noise pressure and coming home after the hard day of work where there are constant noise, they really want to get that silence, just maybe browsing the internet in complete silence, just getting that relief from their job. And it's really nice. It is beautiful to work in complete silence. Some people will really appreciate this thing. The screen is not bad by any means, don't get me wrong. The colors are vivid, it gets bright, backlight is even, like creamy even, probably one of the most evenest backlights from the point of evenness. There are no noticeable backlight bleeding and it's good screen. But there's something wrong with it. Couple of things actually. I could not get brightness right, never. For example, I feel that the picture is dim, so I increase the brightness to the comfortable level, as I think in general. But those whites are too bright, they are harsh to my eyes, so then I decrease the brightness to the level that whites are comfortable to look at. And then the whole picture is dim. Not enough contrast or separation or whatever. So no matter which brightness level I choose, it's always wrong. Often I literally find myself squinting because either the whites are too dim bright or the whole picture is dim and I need to make my eyes work to discern something. Anyway, from the point of controlling brightness, something is completely wrong. Maybe they're messed up with white point or black point or gamma or whatever, but they messed up with something. I was using 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro and that image I really like. The image is soft, it is really nice to look at. Well, I'm just looking at it, I'm not squinting, I'm not trying to see what's going on the screen, I'm just comfortably using it. Probably you are going to you're going to say that it is a size matter, like 15-inch, yeah right, you can see more, it's more comfortable use, but with the 13-inch screen, it is the same. With 2015 13-inch MacBook Pro, I never have to try to see, I'm just looking at the screen and it's really nice. I'm not getting any eye strain. So let's say it's more comfortable to use 2015 MacBook Pro screens than new MacBook Air. To add to this matter is that brightness control steps too big, but holding Option Shift, you can control it more precisely. I wish you can turn on that precise brightness control by default somewhere in settings, but it's not by default. But again, muscle memory does its job, and sooner or later, it's not going to be a problem for you to control brightness holding your pinky and thumb on Shift and Option as well. Screen response time is really slow. It is noticeable. Things get blurred. You're not gaming on this thing, so probably not a big deal. Loudspeakers are fine, but a little bit muffled. I didn't have any problems with hearing it. There are some stress probably on low frequencies, on some bass. It's just again matter of preference, but they're okay, good speakers. But the sound using your earphones or headphones. Okay, it's just my own opinion, but when I'm comparing to my 2000, where it is, somewhere, whatever, to compare to 2015 MacBook Pro, the sound in earphones in new Apple M1 MacBook Air, it gets loud, really loud, but it is harsh, really harsh. I couldn't listen it for a long time. And it is the same story as with brightness. When I'm trying to increase the volume, because it feels not loud enough, some frequencies get so damn harsh and it literally hurting my ears. It is too damn loud. But when I'm trying to decrease the volume, to decrease the harshness of those particular frequencies, so it is comfortable to listen, sound gets just so flat. It's just so flat and quiet. It just doesn't hurt my my ears anymore, but it's too quiet in general. So with the brightness, I could not get my volume right. Either some particular frequencies hurt your ears, or the sound is just quiet and flat and dull. Lame. In 2015 Max, well, sometimes yes, there are those frequencies which hurt your ears, but in general, in 2015 Max, it is a lot more comfortable to listen to music and watching movies than on new MacBook Air. But at least I can skip tracks and control volume using those buttons on headset. So why it happens? Well, in case of the screen, I have a couple of theories again, pure speculations. So if you have some proven data, please share it with me in the comments below. There is that setting in the iPhone menu called literally white point. You can reduce it and the image gets a little bit softer. Whites are not that white, and that image is more pleasant to look at. So probably here's the same story. They messed up, as I probably previously mentioned, that damn white point. Maybe it can be fixed in updates, but right now we have what we've got. Another reason, the light can be physically not diffused enough. That MacBook Air upper lid, that screen lid, is a lot thinner than 2015 Max, and in 2015 Max, there are 5 diffuser shades. So maybe it's just not diffused enough in new MacBook Air. Because I mean, you cannot shove those 5 diffuser shades in something that is a lot thinner. The light just cannot be diffused enough with those diffusers they're put inside right now. Maybe it's just so thin, or there are not enough of them. If you have the same feeling when you are using your MacBook Air M1 or your M1 MacBook Pros, or maybe new M1 Max and M1 Pro, M1 Pro Mac, damn those, whatever. So please let me know in the comments if you have the same feeling when using those screens, or maybe it's just me who just got crazy. So now earphone sound. Well, this one is pretty easy. In 2015 Max, there are dedicated DAC or amplifier, sound amplifier right on the motherboard, like CPU, and then there that chip from Cirrus Logic. I mean, something dedicated is usually, as a rule, is a lot better than something that's supposed to do a lot of things at the same time. So the problem with M1 chip, it tries to do everything, but sometimes trying to do everything, it's like trying to hit 2 birds with one stone. Older Macs, I'm not sure about that better flag generation, but 2015 Macs had that dedicated DAC to process your sound. And now M1 MacBook Air have that M1 SoC, and that sound processing part is just baked in on the SoC itself. So sound is just not there yet. It is loud, but it's not pleasant to listen. Maybe with some headphones it's going to be okay, but with those several earphones and headphones I'm using, it's not. And another thing I wanted to add. I had the same feeling when the sound just gone bad when I was using iPhone 8, as far as I remember, either iPhone 7 or iPhone 8. After I was using the iPhone 6s. As we remember, iPhone 6s is the last iPhone with a headphone jack, and it was really nice to listen the music on, but when Apple got rid of headphone jack and gave us the dongle options, I had that feeling that something wrong with the sound. It got harsh. So to digital, if you ask me, but I understand that with the headphone jack, it is also digital. I mean, we're listening digital files, zeros and ones. But I had that feeling that sound is harsh and not that pleasant to listen anymore. I mean, I was using the original iPhone SE as my player for a really, really long time. Nice, loud, pleasant to listen sound. And with the iPhone 8, it's not that pleasant to listen anymore. With the iPad, it's the same. There was headphone jack and then they got rid of it. It was really loud and nice to listen to music with the iPad with the headphone jack, but then again they got rid of it, and we are using those dongles Type-C to 3.5mm jack adapter, and it's just not there. Again, too much to talk about sound, but it is really important. I mean, sound and what you are looking at. I mean, those are our senses. Those are important. Sound and image. Very, very important. So M1 SoC, it's just not there yet in case of sound quality. 2015 Macs, especially 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro, was a epitome of image quality for me. Technically, 2015 13-inch Mac was a better one. It has a more color space coverage and more contrast, and it was brighter. But just in terms of using it, in terms of my own subjective impressions, those 2015 MacBook Pros are just the best laptop screen I ever used. Not just the best in the case of brightness, contrast or whatever, but in the best of how comfortably and how long I can use it. And with the MacBook Air M1, it's just again not there yet, as the same with the sound. 2015 Max, in the case of the sound, not the best earphone quality out there, but enjoyable to listen. And with the MacBook Air M1 laptops, the sound quality and display image quality is kind of downgrade. So, should I buy it or not? Tell me already. Well, I'm not going to tell you should you buy it or not, but I can definitely say who is this laptop for. It's probably not just me, but some people do have that feeling when you just want to break bad, go into the wild, reject humanity and go back to monkey. But you just can't. I mean, you're fed up with this world, with that amount of information people try and shove inside of your head. And it's really tiring and annoying. And one of those times when I had that mood, I clearly realized who is this laptop for. So M1 MacBook Air is just a computer for the people who need a computer for some reason. For those people who maybe even never had a computer before, or have to had a computer just to get some stuff done. And those people just do not care about how much diffusers inside of the lid, how nice that sound quality is. So basically, it is a default laptop for all the people. So to sum it up, I would just say that Apple M1 MacBook Air is just a default laptop for the people who just need to do some stuff done. Thank you for watching. And please give me some feedback in the comments below. Why am I holding this?